My friends, let me ask you a question. What would your life look like if happiness was no longer something you waited for, but something you chose every single day? See, too many people are waiting for happiness to arrive like a package on their doorstep. But happiness isn't delivered, happiness is developed. You don't stumble into joy. You step into it intentionally. Most people live their lives as if happiness is a lottery ticket waiting for the right numbers to show up before they allow themselves to smile, to breathe freely, to feel alive. But let me challenge you with a thought. What if happiness isn't something that happens to you, but something that happens through you? What if happiness is not an accident, but a decision, not a random event, but a daily practice? See, happiness is not about chance, it's about choice. The moment you wake up in the morning, you are standing at a crossroads. One path leads to joy, gratitude, and peace. The other path leads to worry, frustration, and discontentment. And the direction you choose has nothing to do with your circumstances. It has everything to do with your decision. Here's the hook. Happiness is not found in the day, it is placed in the day by the one who chooses it. If you wait for everything around you to line up perfectly, you'll spend your whole life waiting. Bills will still be there, problems will still knock on your door, challenges will still test you. But when you decide, when you make the conscious choice to walk in joy regardless of what's happening, you stop being a victim of life and start being a master of it. You see, life is not about what happens to you, it's about how you respond. Happiness is your response to life, not life's gift to you. Some people say, I'll be happy when I get that promotion, I'll be happy when I meet the right person, I'll be happy when my situation changes. But here's the truth. If you can't be happy with little, you won't know how to be happy with much. If you can't find joy in the journey, you won't even recognize it when you arrive at the destination. Happiness isn't in the future, it's in the now. The secret is understanding that every day is a canvas, and your decision to choose joy is the paintbrush that colors it. Think about it. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you allow into your mind? For most people, it's the weight of yesterday or the worries of tomorrow. But imagine if you trained yourself to decide, today I will rejoice. Today I will look for the good. Today I will carry joy with me no matter what. That decision shifts the atmosphere of your entire day. The problems don't disappear, but your perspective changes. And perspective is the bridge between misery and mastery. Happiness is a daily decision because every day will give you a reason not to be happy. Every day will hand you a challenge, a disappointment, or a distraction. But your power is not in avoiding problems. Your power is in choosing joy despite them. And when you practice that decision consistently, happiness stops being something you pursue and starts being something you embody. So let me leave you with this hook. If you want a better life, don't wait for better circumstances. Decide on a better attitude. Happiness is a decision, and the moment you make it daily, you unlock strength, peace, and progress that nothing and no one can take away from you. Gratitude is the fuel that ignites joy, and without it, happiness becomes fragile, temporary, and easily stolen. You see, gratitude is not just saying thank you. When life is good, it's training your eyes to see the blessings that others overlook. When you focus on what you lack, life feels heavy, but when you focus on what you already have, life feels abundant. That's why gratitude is the secret weapon of the joyful. It shifts your perspective from scarcity to sufficiency, from frustration to fulfillment. Gratitude doesn't change your circumstances, but it changes you in your circumstances. Here's the hook. You cannot be truly grateful and miserable at the same time. The two cannot occupy the same space. When gratitude enters, complaining has to leave. When you train your heart to give thanks, joy becomes your natural response, even in the midst of challenges. Think about this. How many blessings do we walk past every single day without acknowledgement? Waking up with breath in your lungs, being able to walk, talk, think, love, create, give, these are miracles disguised as routines. Gratitude opens your eyes to the treasure hidden in the ordinary. Some people believe joy comes when life finally gives them something big. But gratitude says joy comes when you recognize the value of what you already have. The person who is not grateful with a little will never be grateful with a lot. This is why some people achieve success, accumulate wealth, and still feel empty. They've never cultivated gratitude. Happiness without gratitude is like water in a broken cup. No matter how much you pour in, it will always leak out. But when you build a foundation of gratitude, every blessing multiplies, every challenge shrinks, and every day becomes an opportunity to rejoice. Now, let me make it plain. If you want to push yourself to be happy every day, start with a gratitude practice. Before you check your phone, before you let the noise of the world fill your mind, pause and list 3 things you are grateful for. It could be as small as the sunlight coming through your window or the sound of a loved one's voice. The power is not in how big the blessing is. The power is in recognizing it. Gratitude unlocks joy, not because life suddenly changes, but because you change how you see life. Here's another hook. Gratitude doesn't just remind you of what you have, it reminds you of who you are. A grateful person is powerful, resilient, and unshakable. They're not waiting on life to get better. They make life better by acknowledging the good already present. Gratitude protects you from envy, it shields you from bitterness, and it builds a joy that no one else can take away. Because when you are grateful, you're not focused on what others have. You're too busy celebrating what you've been given. So remember this, gratitude is the fuel of joy. The more grateful you are, the more joyful you become. And the more joyful you become, the stronger you are to face life with confidence, peace, and unshakable happiness. Your environment is either the wind beneath your wings or the weight pulling you down. And that's why protecting it is one of the most powerful decisions you can ever make. The truth is, happiness is fragile when it is surrounded by negativity, and joy is stifled when it is trapped in toxic spaces. You can be filled with vision, purpose, and potential, but if the voices around you constantly speak doubt, fear, and discouragement, your fire will eventually dim. Protecting your environment means guarding your mind, your heart, and your space like treasure, because that's exactly what they are. Here's the hook. Your environment is a mirror of your future. Show me who you listen to, who you spend time with, and what you expose yourself to daily, and I'll show you where you're headed. If you're constantly around complainers, you'll start complaining. If you're surrounded by dreamers and doers, you'll start dreaming and doing. You don't rise above your environment, you adapt to it. That's why your joy, your growth, and your success demand that you choose wisely who and what you allow into your atmosphere. Think about it like this. If you plant a seed in toxic soil, no matter how strong the seed is, it cannot thrive. The problem is not the seed, it's the environment. And the same is true for you. You are full of greatness, but greatness can't grow in soil contaminated by bitterness, gossip, fear, or mediocrity. If you want joy to flourish in your life, you must cultivate an environment that feeds it, not one that starves it. Protecting your environment also means setting boundaries. You don't owe unlimited access to people who drain your energy. distract you from purpose, or constantly pull you into negativity. Saying no is not rejection. It is protection. Every no to toxic influence is a louder yes to your peace, your purpose, and your happiness. Don't let people who have no joy within themselves steal the joy you've worked so hard to build. Here's another hook. Joy is contagious, but so is misery. If you catch what you're close to, you'd better be close to people who are going where you want to go. The right environment doesn't just protect your joy, it multiplies it. When you're around people who celebrate life, who see possibility instead of problems, who encourage faith instead of fear, you can't help but rise to a higher level of happiness and strength. Your environment is not just people. It's also what you consume, the books you read, the shows you watch, the music you listen to, the conversations you entertain. They are all shaping your atmosphere. If your input is negative, don't be surprised when your outlook is negative. But when you intentionally fill your environment with positivity, wisdom, and inspiration, your mind becomes fertile ground for joy to grow. So protect your environment like your future depends on it, because it does. Guard your atmosphere, choose your associations, and filter your inputs. The right environment will feed your joy, fuel your growth, and position you to thrive no matter what life throws your way. The words you speak are not just sounds. They are seeds, and every seed you release has the power to shape your reality. Too many people underestimate the weight of their own words. They speak casually, they complain freely, they declare limitations without realizing that their mouth is writing the script their life will follow. When you constantly say, I can't, I'm tired, I'm stuck, nothing ever works out for me, those words don't just vanish into the air. They take root in your mind, in your spirit, and eventually in your circumstances. But when you begin to speak life instead of limits, hope instead of defeat, strength instead of weakness, you reprogram your atmosphere and prepare the soil for joy and success to grow. Here's the hook. Your life will always move in the direction of your most dominant conversation. If you keep speaking lack, you'll live in lack. If you keep speaking possibilities, you'll begin to see doors open that you once thought were locked. The tongue is small, but it carries the power to build or to break, to bless or to curse, to elevate or to suffocate. And the wisest thing you can do is choose words that breathe life, not words that bury your potential. Every time you say something, you are either reinforcing your joy or reinforcing your misery. Think about how often people sabotage their own happiness by the things they speak. A person can wake up to a brand new day with fresh opportunities, but the moment they mutter, this is going to be a terrible day, they've already handed over the keys of their joy. Happiness is not just a decision, it's also a declaration. When you wake up and say, this is the day the Lord has made, I will rejoice and be glad in it, you are setting a spiritual thermostat that controls the temperature of your entire day. The words you speak to yourself matter the most. Some of you are kinder to strangers than you are to yourself. You encourage others, but tear yourself down with self-doubt, guilt, and criticism. Understand this, the person who hears your voice the most is you. If you wouldn't speak death over someone else, stop speaking it over yourself. Replace I can't with I can. Replace it's impossible with God. All things are possible. Replace I'm broken with I'm becoming. That shift in language becomes a shift in mindset, and that shift in mindset becomes a shift in your reality. Here's another hook. Words are like steering wheels. Whatever direction you turn them, your life will eventually follow. If you want to push yourself to be happy every day, you can't afford to speak words that drain you. Speak what lifts you. Speak what builds you. Speak what aligns with your purpose. The right words are not empty affirmations. They are declarations of faith that create a new atmosphere for joy to flourish. So guard your mouth the way you guard your heart, because what you say will eventually become what you see. Fill your environment with words of gratitude, words of faith, words of life, and watch how your joy expands, your strength increases, and your happiness becomes unshakable. Happiness has often been misunderstood as something soft, shallow, or fragile, but the truth is that happiness is one of the greatest strengths a person can carry. It is not weakness to smile in the face of struggle. It is strength. It is not denial to find joy in the midst of chaos. It is wisdom. Happiness is strength in disguise because it allows you to endure pressure, overcome obstacles, and rise above situations that would crush someone who has no joy within them. When you carry happiness, you carry resilience, and resilience is what turns setbacks into comebacks. Here's the hook: the enemy cannot defeat a person who refuses to lose their joy. You can strip them of resources, you can challenge their circumstances, but as long as they keep their joy, they keep their power. Sadness drains energy, frustration clouds judgment, and anger steals focus, but happiness sharpens your mind, strengthens your heart, and fuels your ability to keep moving forward. That's why a joyful spirit is not just a good feeling, it's a weapon of victory. When you look at the most resilient people in history, you'll notice something powerful. They didn't wait for perfect circumstances to find joy. They carried joy through pain, through disappointment, and through trials. Happiness doesn't mean you don't acknowledge the problem. It means you refuse to let the problem own you. When you choose happiness in the middle of adversity, you are sending a message to life itself. You may push me, but you will not break me. That unshakable mindset turns happiness into a fortress, protecting you from being crushed by negativity. Think of it this way: your emotions are like fuel. Anger burns fast and leaves you empty. Fear paralyzes and keeps you from moving at all. But happiness is renewable energy. It keeps you going when others quit. It gives you the stamina to continue when life gets heavy. When you walk in joy, people around you can't understand how you keep standing, but that's the secret. They don't see that your happiness is actually your hidden strength. Here's another hook. Happiness is not the absence of hardship, it is the presence of power. Every time you choose joy, you're choosing strength. Every time you smile when you could complain, you're proving that your inner world is greater than your outer world. This is why Scripture says, the joy of the Lord is your strength. Joy doesn't just make you feel good. It makes you strong enough to face what others run from. If you want to live unshakable, if you want to live powerful, you must learn to treat happiness as a tool, not just a feeling. Protect it, nurture it, and practice it daily. Because when happiness becomes your strength, storms don't break you, they build you. Obstacles don't stop you, they stretch you. And pain doesn't destroy you, it develops you. So never underestimate the strength of happiness. It's not just a smile, it's a shield. It's not just a feeling, it's a force. And the more you choose it, the stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable you become. Too many people waste years of their lives waiting for someone else to make them happy, as if joy is a gift wrapped up and handed out by another person. But the truth is, happiness is not anybody else's responsibility, it is yours. If you keep depending on others to brighten your life, you'll always be disappointed because people are imperfect. They can fail you, they can forget you, and they can even drain you. That's why you must push yourself to be happy every day. Happiness becomes powerful when you stop outsourcing it and start owning it. Here's the hook. If someone else can make you happy, then someone else can take it away. But when you push yourself to create your own joy, nobody can rob you of it. Happiness is not about what people give you. It's about what you cultivate inside of you. If you're waiting for a person, a relationship, or a circumstance to complete you, you'll always live at the mercy of things you cannot control. But when you learn to generate joy from within, you become unstoppable because your happiness is rooted in your decision, not their approval. Think about how many times people delay their joy. They say, I'll be happy when someone recognizes me, when someone validates me, when someone supports me. But here's the reality. What if that recognition never comes? What if that support is delayed? Does that mean your joy is on hold forever? Absolutely not. You cannot afford to wait for others to push you forward. You must push yourself. Every morning you must declare, I will not wait for someone to make me happy. I choose joy now. That mindset shifts you from dependency to empowerment. It's easy to fall into the trap of blame, believing that someone else is responsible for your unhappiness. But blaming others gives away your power. Happiness requires ownership. The moment you accept that no one else controls your peace, but you unlock the freedom to live stronger, lighter, and more joyful. Nobody else can decide your attitude, your outlook, or your spirit. That's your responsibility alone. Here's another hook. Happiness is not found in what people do for you. It's found in what you do for yourself. You push yourself by practicing gratitude, by speaking life, by surrounding yourself with positivity, by choosing to see possibility instead of limitation. Pushing yourself to be happy doesn't mean life is always easy. It means you've decided that no matter how hard it gets, you will not hand your joy over to anyone else. And here's the beautiful part. When you learn to push yourself to be happy, you actually become a light for others. Your joy inspires, your peace attracts, your energy uplifts. But it starts with you first. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot shine light if you refuse to ignite your own flame. So remember this. Happiness is not someone else's job. It's yours. Don't wait to be pushed. Don't wait to be encouraged. Don't wait to be celebrated. Push yourself to rise. Push yourself to smile. Push yourself to walk in joy every single day. Because the moment you take full responsibility for your happiness, you take full authority over your life.